And welcome back for this, the third match of day 1, week 4. It is the final week of the Unsquashable Premier League. And on court in the orange is Elijah Thomas, the 17-year-old, ranked 257. In the red is Joel ARSCOTT, I guess the top seed when it comes to rankings. He is 235 in the world. He's won, what was it, week 2? Yes, it was week 2 over Elijah Thomas. And joining me now, some commentary and thoughts, is Hassan Patan. Great to have you, Hassan. It's a little bit loud around here because the rain is coming down pretty hard on the ceiling, isn't it?
Yeah, you'll notice that when I was riffing the last game, players were finding it very hard to hear the decisions and the score when that rain started pouring down, especially since we're in an industrial warehouse, obviously. But it's very, very noisy when it starts pouring down outside with rain.
It is a top court, the only permanent glass court in New Zealand, but the rain today or tonight in New Zealand, certainly in Auckland, has been fairly solid.
Yeah. It's been a week of misery, you could say.
Yeah. So our official, you've been replaced as an official, which I don't know if you're okay with that.
No, I'm completely fine with it, honestly. It's been a very good experience to be able to ref these high quality, PSA and world ranking level matches, because obviously my experience as a ref is it's not very noteworthy per se. I normally just do reffing in a club environment and maybe some during national tournaments and stuff like that. So it's a very good experience to be able to ref high caliber players such as these, because it really makes you think about the reasons why you give calls, etc., etc. It's a very, very good experience.
And also on a glass court, does that make it different for you?
Yeah, definitely, because with the ref's position, it's almost, because it's slightly more towards the forehand side, it's a bit hard to see whether the ball goes out on the backhand wall, especially if it's nice and high. And I guess for me personally, pickups are my little niggle, it's I find it a little hard to see pickups, but if it's definite, it's definite, and if I'm unsure, I just play a let. Yeah.
Right, already underway here, and as expected, long rallies, regimented play, which is very much part of Elijah's game and Joel's game as well.
Yeah.
Both players holding the racket up, the grip just a little bit further than some of the others that we've already seen. A nice change of direction.
Yeah, these two are very structured players, as we've seen in the past. You can almost see both of them just holding on the backhand side, trying to bait the other opponent out. They both really love that backhand volley as much as they play it as much as they can. It's very, very interesting to see, because obviously Elijah's up and coming, but Joel's, as a pro, he's kind of already developed this really structured play, and Elijah's kind of mimicking it in a way. So, Elijah's playing really well for his age.
A very lengthy rally as well.
Yeah.
These players don't give much away when it comes to emotion.
Nah.
It's pretty stony-faced, isn't it?
Yeah. That's very true. I mean, often you'll hear Joel talk about around the club, kind of body language on the court, right? And you'll see, he'll mention, whether your head's up when you're receiving a serve, etc., etc. Just, giving that confident body language, making sure, it's very open, very controlled, not letting the other person control you. It's a very big part of his game.
Yes.
It really helps him a lot, as you can see with the structure. In this rally, he's taking control from the front. Elijah's kind of moving around him. Elijah's having to react to him, and that's a beautiful drop there.
Oh, good play. Yeah, it's going to be a long match in that sense, and that both players aren't going to go for risky winners. They'll leave that to someone like Leo Farialova in the next match. He's the shot maker.
Yeah. Very fun person to watch, honestly. You never know what you're going to get with Leo. And there's quite a few players, obviously, that have played in this in the Unsquashable Premier League in past. Obviously, last week we had Lance Beddoes, who's a similar type player.
Oh, the die.
That's a very good shot by Elijah.
Well, he should know that, though. He knows these courts, and we've known over the last 3 weeks that just in that corner, particularly in the evening matches, not so much the afternoon, but in the evening matches, the ball does have a little tendency to die in that corner.
Yeah, definitely.
So these players know it.
Yeah.
You probably have to take a short stutter or a short step to actually just move in closer to it.
Yeah. Ooh, what's the call going to be here? Oh, yeah. Very good call by the national ref.
Yeah, that's you always want practice, whether it's a player or whether it's as a referee, just to keep yourself on your toes, don't you?
Definitely, yeah.
So feel free to let us know where you are watching from. We know that we have Leanne and I'm sure Paul ARSCOTT are there in Brisbane. Oh, letting the ball drop very low, dangerous there.
Yeah.
Nice lob. Right into it.
This is interesting. Eli just kind of turned the same tactic on Joel, trying to control the rally, but one loose shot and it changes. It's really interesting to watch that dynamic where one shot changes the whole structure of the rally, you know?
And there's the shot that Elijah Thomas loves, playing that backhand on the full. He can disguise it either way. Yep. Seems a clear let there. I think it's also about asking the question of the referee, not so much for a let or a stroke or anything there, it's just reconfirming the score as well.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Especially, normally in a normal environment you'd have like a referee and a marker, but obviously over here we just have the one referee doing the marking as well. So it's beautiful shot, Joel. That's uncharacteristic for him, but it's good to see that he can play that as well. Obviously in his wide range as a pro.
They can all hit winners.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of choosing when to.
Yeah.
Ooh. Recovered.
Ooh, what a get.
There's the turn.
That was smart by Joel, hitting it down the middle. Threw Elijah off a little bit from the front.
Nice movement. And good angle, a lot of running below Elijah. Use that corner well. The thing, what you saw there in the early part of that rally was a turn, which seems to be the move which Elijah Thomas can do. He's very good at doing the turn as he runs backwards, and a lot of players really struggle with that. It's almost his signature move.
Yeah, he's kind of incorporated into his movement, obviously, all that efficient movement that he's been practicing. And obviously, you see all these high caliber players already have his defined movement. It's very interesting to see. Like, for example, Joel will be very, very efficient moving into the back corners. Like, it takes him almost 2 steps to get back to the tee from the back. Like, it's very. Like, I can't imagine playing to that kind of level at my level, obviously, which is a very low club level. But just to see that kind of movement is very interesting.
And there we go, putting it away. The first game, 10-5. Make that 11-5. Pretty quick fashion as well.
Yeah.
Just over 7 minutes. A little bit quicker than what we expected after a couple of early rallies, which were lengthy.
Yes.
So coming up now, the second game of this match between Joel ARSCOTT in the red against Elijah Thomas in the orange. And it was Elijah Thomas taking the first game 11-5, around about 7.5 minutes. And Hassan wasn't quite what we expected. We probably were thinking of a score a little bit closer.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because we already mentioned the way both these players play. We're expecting long, grinding rallies. And that for the first 5 minutes of that, yes, definitely. But towards the end of the game, it was just a lot more quicker, higher paced, and more shot play kind of in this rally.
Well, let's see what's going to eventuate in this, the second game. And great to have people from Ireland, with people from Australia, and from around New Zealand as well.
Oh, that's a good shot by Joel. Yeah, that's probably the right call in that situation.
I mean, it was difficult for Elijah to get out of the way. He was going to set it in that corner anyway. Where's he meant to go?
Yeah.
It's got to be pretty quick to get out.
Yeah. And Joel just onto him real quickly as well.
Nice recovery.
Oh, here we
There's
go.
the backhand. Ooh, scooped it out of that corner.
Oh, that's an amazing hit from Joel. Oh, and the mistake by Elijah.
Ooh. That was one of those shots that you expect yourself to win.
Yeah, definitely. You only play that if you're going to win the rally. But obviously a guy like Joel, with his amazing movement, wow, what a shot. With his amazing movement, will tend to get most of those balls very easily. So in the end, it only becomes a shot to put him under pressure, really, to move him off the tee into the front.
And a much better start for Joel ARSCOTT here. He's up 5-1. What we have noticed with these two players is, I wouldn't say they're checking each other, but they know how to play against each other.
Definitely.
They're not big blocks, they're subtlety.
Yeah. It's almost like they recognize each other's movement is so ingrained and it's such a good pattern, and they're trying to disrupt that pattern and see where it takes them, you know?
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of, at the start obviously we've seen there's been a lot of body interference between both these players, and it's just a little tactic to see who can adjust and who gets thrown off the most.
Nice change of direction, but good recovery. And so we do have two players here who have world rankings. It is Joel ARSCOTT with 235 in the world, and around about 20 places further back, 237, make that 257, is Elijah Thomas. The unfortunate thing is for these players, a number of the players here, is trying to earn more points with limited, in fact no PSA satellites or challenges at the moment. Probably for a few months as well.
Definitely, it's a very, very hard situation that squash is going through right now, where currently in terms of professionals, they don't have too much to kind of look forward to. I mean, it's good news to hear like clubs in New Zealand, and now we're starting to hear some states in Australia and parts of the world are getting on the court, but in terms of the high level professionals, it's very hard. That's uncharacteristic by Elijah.
That was, I mean, he recovered, but I think Joel was also a little surprised that he missed it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, see, you can see Elijah was stuck behind Joel there. It was a very smart play.
Yeah, so the unfortunate thing is for New Zealand and Australia are going to be in a trans-Tasman bubble very shortly.
Yep.
However, I don't know if the PSA is going to allow satellite or challenger if it can only be New Zealand and Australia players.
Yeah, true. It's very, very interesting because obviously the movement in terms of rankings is going to be only limited to these oceanic players, unless.
I mean, no one's going to move in their rankings.
Yeah.
So, but it's just when these players really want to get ahead, they're
Yeah.
helping.
Yeah, true. They'll have a little bit of an advantage, which is kind of where the PSA comes in, kind of trying to figure out what to do in this kind of situation.
Now, in this second game, we've seen Elijah just a little bit off in the last few points, missing the ball completely for a moment, and also just timing not quite what we'd expect.
Yeah, I think it's a strong start by Joel to
Yeah.
put him off a little bit, because he's obviously playing from behind, which is nobody likes playing from behind, especially being
When you're
9-3
down by
down.
5 points as well.
Yeah, it's a very, very hard position to play from. It will throw professionals like Elijah off. But you can see Joel's in his element, obviously, playing as a dominant player, controlling the rally.
Just to move forward to the
there's
tee.
another error by Elijah.
We didn't expect a score like this. Still a way to go. Only 1 point for Joel, but the hardest point to win is the last point.
Yeah. because we know Elijah. He's not the type of player to give up, especially on the last point.
No.
It's a great shot.
That's what you've got to do, is just take your time, play to your strength.
Yeah,
Don't let the opposition dictate the game.
definitely.
So a couple of points back, from 3-10 down to 5-10 down. Long way to go to force it,
Yeah.
but still that'll give them a little bit more confidence to win back 2 or 3 points.
And that's the game.
Okay, so 11-5 there in the end. Joel
Yes.
ARSCOTT coming back to take that second game. Hassan, I think it was just that lead that he got early on, right?
Yeah, almost a reversal of the first game that we observed.
All right, we're back with the third game, and the score's totally locked up. A game all, 11-5 to Elijah Thomas in the first, and Joel ARSCOTT 11-5 in the second. And as I said, Hassan, that's the score lines have been a little bit easier than what we've expected.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting because these two players obviously have played each other in the final of week 2, and that scoreline obviously went to 5, and it was very close games, except for the fifth one. And now we're kind of seeing it's almost like they know each other a lot better now, and they've kind of figured out how they're going to play each other. So you're going to see a lot of variation compared to what we saw in week 2. Oh, what a shot by Elijah.
Yeah. That's a nice affirmative shot to get yourself back into the game.
Nice, good rally along the backhand side. This is what we tend to expect a lot more from these two.
Yeah, we expected more of this. Now who's going to change first? Oh, there we go, it is with Joel switching across. Not quite, not enough on that. So let's see who can get to the tee, who can dominate from the front on this.
Yeah.
Use that corner. Too much? Just a couple of points there that Joel was perhaps a little bit, I wouldn't say off on, but he maybe needed to take an extra step. Didn't need to push it quite so hard on that one.
Oh, good hit by Elijah. Oh, that's very harsh for Elijah.
Yeah, he doesn't usually miss those ones.
No.
That's one of his shots that he likes doing.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to note that obviously it's getting colder now, so the ball's very quick to die in the back now, and also that goes for the front as well. The dropping into the front, like you see there, just dies very quickly.
He's recovered well. Led on that one. Very difficult to call the shot and call the question because the player was moving so quick.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like kind of 5-1 to Joel.
Yeah, this is the same as last time.
Yeah. Let's see how Elijah responds to this. It's quite interesting with the call because normally the idea is you kind of have a snapshot in your mind of when they call the let, and then you kind of make the call off that. But obviously you have to consider a little bit of extra circumstances, like was there impediment of the movement before he called it there, has he played through, etc. So it's almost very interesting where you get questions asked about consistent reffing. What a shot. You get questions asked about consistent reffing and whether is it alright if you make the wrong call, but you ref consistently to that standard, you know? Like, it's a very interesting topic. Oh, that's a tight shot. See, they've upped the pace up here a little bit. And now Joel's just trying to slow it down by lifting it.
That's a bit of shot.
Ooh.
Okay, here's the silly question to someone officiating. What do you think would happen if there was, you just called no reds?
Oh, that's a very...
Yeah, no, that's something that you can think about that. Answer, you don't have to answer it right now.
Just the idea, because obviously that we have calls in squash, obviously make games as clean as possible. And if you were to have no lets constantly, then you could almost, in a way, influence your opponent a lot easier, because there's no degree to which you can interfere with them, because it's always going to be a no let, you see. Ooh, that's a good lob.
Just stayed in. Where's he set up for now? Oh, it's close to the wall though.
Oh, the shot. Yeah, very consistent reffing.
I guess that's the other thing. You've got to be consistent, whether it's the first point or the last point.
Yeah.
You can't just say, "Oh, it's near the end of the match. I don't want to call you for that."
Yeah, definitely. That's very, very unfortunate. Popped out on the sidewall and Elijah got caught out there.
Yeah, he got caught. He knew that.
Yeah.
They're really jostling for that centre position, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
So feel free to let us know any thoughts, where you are, or if there's any particular support for any particular player. You can see the intensity in this match, and we're only in the third game. Good change of direction. Oh. He's coming back into the rallies.
Elijah's got out of trouble very well.
Yeah, I think in that sense, Elijah was in the right there.
It was a very good recovery because you had Joel controlling
Yeah.
that rally for most of it, and then Elijah just hits that shot. Very good recovery shot on the back, and all of a sudden, tables turn.
So let us know what you think, any decisions, or if you have a thought on the play itself. Don't forget, we also have another match coming up after this. It's a shot. That's a nice winning shot.
Good shot.
So we do have Temwa Chilisi against Leo Fabiolova. That'll be entertaining for sure. It's another forehand winner.
You can see the score lines.
Yeah, 5-7 now.
Elijah's kind of recovered in terms of the score, and it's kind of, you can see Joel got that early lead, but now Elijah's stepping up the tempo, trying to move Joel up. Keeps Joel's movement very reactive rather than letting Joel control the rally.
Well, a couple of forehand winners have helped with that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think this is really a vital point. 5-7 down for both players. That's nice.
That's a good shot by Joel.
Stayed low and was close to the wall as well.
Yeah.
action. Good pickup. He's going to go.
Oh, that's a good get, but unfortunately, we're out.
Good. I think Heather Finlay did call it.
Yeah, but the players couldn't hear the referee calling the ball out.
No, it was definitely out. You can. I think the players were curious anyway, but sometimes you just can't tell whether it's at the court level or this level.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
It's very hard to see the pickups from up in the ref's position.
I think wherever you are, it's going to be hard to see the pickups when you've got the bodies moving around as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Joel's putting a lot of work into Elijah's legs right now. Because Joel's... Obviously both players are really, really fit, and Joel's trying to unsettle Elijah with this movement. And that means that Elijah has to work a lot more, which gives him a decided advantage leading into the next game.
Yeah, so it's just been these last 2 or 3 points which has really helped Joel out. It was 5-7. Elijah coming back a little bit, and then these last 3 points. It was a good shot.
Well, that's a great finish.
Yeah. Back now for the 4th game, with Joel ARSCOTT leading 2-1 over Elijah Thomas, who is now wearing all white. A considered thought there by Heather Finlay and let. It is Joel ARSCOTT in the red t-shirt, unsquashable t-shirt. Runner-up last week to Timo Chalisi, and winner of week 2 over Elijah Thomas. Hit just about every single corner there.
Wow, it's really wide variety of shots. Oh, that's very unfortunate for Elijah.
It's quite an energetic first rally, wasn't it, Hassan?
Yes, definitely. Hopefully a good sign of things to come.
So when you're umpiring, when you're refereeing or officiating, you get the players midway through the rally almost pointing or calling, so maybe want to question that, but we've still got to play on.
Yeah, it's almost like some players are very honest about it, and the refs obviously very appreciate that a lot, because they're very honest about whether it's out or whether it's pickup is dodgy or something like that. But some players almost use it to get into the mind of the ref to make them doubt themselves. Obviously here it's very nice here because you can play a let for anything you're unsure of as a ref, and especially with this call, especially on the backhand, whether it's out or not, it's very, very hard for the ref to see. So most calls will just be a let, and most of the players are very honest and open about it. We've got another rally alongside the backhand, and then there's a forehand.
Just scooped away from his body. Ooh. That was the second scoop.
Very jammy rally.
So it has been over the last couple of games that Elijah Thomas has really had to force his way trying to get into a rally. He hasn't been able to dominate the tee or dominate going forward.
Yep.
His volley shot, there it is, hasn't worked as well as what he's wanted.
No, it hasn't, but now you can
Although
see.
it just did then. As soon as I said it wasn't, it did.
It's a commentator's curse. You say something's good, it's bad. You say something's bad, they just end up doing the opposite on court. Very good use of height by Elijah early in the rally, especially to get himself out of pressure on the backhand side. how to see that.
Gee.
I
Scooping out.
wouldn't be surprised if one of the players made after this. Very hard to see.
Oh, a lot of recovery from Elijah Thomas and scooping the ball.
Oh,
Did that stick?
ooh.
I think it was actually in. It only just.
Oh, it's very hard to call.
I think it hit just below the line.
Yeah. We'll see what the
Oh,
outcome
here we go. He's
is.
got the opportunity.
Oh, that's it. Very confident, very clear calling by the ref on that. That was a very important rally for the game as well.
Yeah, I think so. And there was close to being out on the
Yeah,
front wall with the height. But I think both players could feel the intensity of it as well.
Yeah, that was a very important rally. And as you can see, Elijah's a bit more tired. You can see Joel still very controlled, very calm. You're starting to see a bit more emotion on Elijah's face.
I didn't feel so much inclined for a let on that. I'd be useless as an official.
Nah, I mean, yeah, it depends. It's all in the eyes of the ref. Like, you could give that a let because obviously the ref feels there's room to play, or whereas some refs would feel that, Elijah definitely obstructed, Joel then would have a stroke. It's all kind of in the eyes of the ref, but as long as it's consistent, there's no complaints or no issues.
So let's see what we can do from here. It's been a little bit of a comeback, the last 2 or 3 points there for Joel ARSCOTT. Holding the racket really high up the grip on the serve in particular. He moves it down slightly.
Yeah, so with the higher grip, obviously he gets a lot more control.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a let there for hitting him on the backswing. With the higher grip, he gets a lot more control, and obviously,
Particularly on a backhand serve as well.
definitely. And then obviously, the lower your grip, the more power you're playing with. Just comment up here from John.duggan saying just play it, obviously. Once the fast paced continuous game, we've had 2 lets in a row. Oh, it's a beautiful drop by Elijah. Oh.
Now that's what we actually want to see from you, because we know you can do that, Elijah. It just hasn't quite come off in these last 2 games.
Yeah.
Timing hasn't quite been there.
Oh, there's another drop.
Oh, well done. And there was a lot of work put into the rally there by Elijah Thomas.
Yeah.
Don't forget to feel free to make any comments. Any thoughts on the game? Any thoughts on the let or a particular shot?
Very interesting on this court because a lot of these high shots, especially you see them off the serve. Oh, that's a beautiful shot by
Nice.
Elijah. Still in it though. Oh, what retrieval by Joel.
Close to no lead?
Yeah, definitely close to an early. Yeah. So obviously there's no question there was definitely not going to be a stroke call there. It was between an early and a let. Very generous, but it's also very fair as well, because obviously there was very messy movement from both players, so there's definitely been interference. Just very good officiating. Very consistent.
Great to have the explanation. We do appreciate that.
You just see a fist pump from Joel there.
Yeah, getting that one back was important for him.
Yeah, definitely. 3-point buffer, always nice to have.
Let it drop very low. Let's see who can play the length the best.
Oh, what a receiver. He's still in it. Oh.
Yeah.
I think Joel was expecting it to be a little bit
He
wider.
he knew that one. There was no question about
no
it.
question. Oh,
Now we do have someone was mentioning it was a stroke before when there was the question over calls.
yeah, like I said before, it's all. I mean, in hindsight, you could go over these calls, seeing it through a TV screen, and you could argue for anything really.
Well, we're back to 7 apiece now, and that was a couple of quick points there. Ooh,
Very interesting use of height.
pushing the luck, aren't you?
So as I was mentioning before, not sure if I finished my point or not, but with the use of height in this court, it's almost interesting because some players feel that the lights are an advantage in terms of you lift. If you do a high serve or a high shot during a rally, you have to look up right into the lights. And obviously some players are fine with it, but some players feel a bit discomforted. Oh, that's uncharacteristic from Joel.
Well, the other thing is both these players have played around enough.
Yeah,
it's not like
definitely.
they just turned up.
Yeah.
And the other thing is,
Oh, no, that's.
gee, they're pushing it. They've really stepped it up and going for a few more shots.
Yeah.
It's coming off and not coming off.
They need the points basically. Elijah trying to get to the fifth, and Joel always trying to keep it, close it out.
That's a nice.
Yeah, it's a good shot.
Yeah.
Oh, so 2 quick points for Joel there.
Yeah, 2 quick points for Joel. Prior to that was 2 quick points for Elijah.
It'll be interesting to see if this goes to long or short because both players. Both players want like long rallies, but you never know. I'm kind of hoping, hope that if it goes 10-0, that one of them says short.
No, that's a fat air loafer thing. Just go short, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It was interesting when Lance was playing Leo, and it was exactly that situation in the fifth, and they opted for the long game. Lifeline for Elijah.
Yeah, that was.
He was under pressure that time.
I'm not sure if he would have been able to get to anything,
Yeah.
and even if he had, whether he'd be able to make anything of it.
Let's see what Joel does now. Is he going to attempt to close out, or is he just going to keep it really nice and long? Just try to get work into Elijah's leg. Next
No,
game.
no, he's got to get on the full.
Ooh. Oh, it's 10-0. Come on, surely. Yep, as expected. As expected, the call is long, so we're going to play 13.
That was.
Got the first half of my wish, not the second half though.
Well, they were asking. That shot was asking for it.
Yeah. Interesting how both players about to finish the rally off make errors, and now we're in this kind of situation. You can feel the tension here a little bit. Everybody's downstairs is baited, sitting with bated breath, seeing who's going to win this rally. Ooh. So we have a lead on that. And it's still 10 off.
You're getting quite into this. I am as well. It's
Yeah.
between these two players. You know you're going to have this sort of contest.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody just standing up and watching. Oh, that's very... Forgot for a moment that it was going to long, going to 13. Oh, interesting. Shot by Joel. Oh, wow. Elijah. So that call is a stroke, and now Joel sitting with match ball.
tough way to lose it.
Yeah, very, very hard way to finish on a court, but it is what it is.